People have been asking me, what does a business broker do, and why would anyone looking to buy a business could benefit from having a business broker on his team? I'll give you one big reason: lots of money. In this particular case, $500,000. One of my clients is about to save by me representing him on a business transaction, purchasing a business. I'll give you all the details, how it's gonna go down. Let's get to it. Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. I am your host, Leo Landaverde, business broker and commercial lender, helping you buy and sell a profitable business. If you are a business owner looking to increase your wealth by purchasing an already profitable business, or if you are an employee looking to get out of the rat race by purchasing a profitable business, in both cases, you're in the right place. I'm going to encourage you to subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to hit the bell, and you'll be notified every Thursday when a new video comes out. So what does a business broker do? Well, we do many things, whether we're representing the buyer or whether we're representing the seller. So first and foremost is the agreement on the purchase price. That to you as a business buyer is probably the number one thing that we're going to help you achieve, because we don't take the purchase price lightly. Now, think about it. Long before you come into the picture, there has been an agreement from the seller as to what the business is likely to sell, based on what is the market will dictate. So we work on valuations that are for businesses that have sold over the last few years on that particular industry for that particular business size, so etc. So there's a science that goes behind value in a business. So if we are representing the seller, we're gonna help the seller come to a realistic value of the business likely to sell. So if we are representing the buyer, we're gonna help the buyer make an offer based on the business purchase price that is likely being the result of the multiple comparable sales over the last few years. So there is those comparable sales that are very important. So aside from helping you determine what is the actual purchase price that you should pay for a business, we do things like introducing you to the facilitating the meetings between the buyer and the seller, because think about it, it's a very emotional transaction. There's a lot that is going to happen that is going to probably change your life, but you're going to be emotionally vested on this transaction. So it's going to be hard for you to be objective unless you have somebody who is guiding the process. So facilitating meetings, writing the letter of intent, and eventually the purchase offer. The letter of intent is a non-binding instrument, but what it does is sets the tone of the transaction, beginning with the purchase price and how we're going to go about purchasing this business. Now, remember I was saying earlier that we're in the middle of a transaction right now with a business that is probably going to be purchased for around $4 to $4.5 million. We're still determining what is the optimal or best purchase price for my buyer. I am representing the buyer, so I'm going to try to pay the least amount that is defensible in due diligence. The seller has an idea what they want to sell the business for. I have an idea what the business I want to purchase it on behalf of our client. So there was an issue of the valuation. The seller was thinking that the business was worth, almost 5 times the earnings, including the inventory. So let's just talk about some general numbers. So in this particular, I cannot tell you exactly what the numbers are, because that would be on a deal that is actually happening right now. So, but for conversation's sake, seller thinks that the business is worth 5 times seller discretionary income and seller discretionary earnings, or SDE, of 1 million. So 1 million times 5 is 5 million. We think the business may be worth 4.5 million because of the way that the add backs have been calculated. We take the purchase price. We take our estimated. We begin with the net income of the business as evidenced by the tax returns. We look at the tax returns, so we see if the tax returns, net income, and with the add backs justifies the 5x multiple coming from the seller. And the reality in this case, it doesn't. We come to about 4.5 million that is defensible cash flow. If you take, instead of the 1 million seller discretionary earnings, we have 900,000 of seller discretionary earnings. So if we're going by the assumption that this is a 5x multiple of seller discretionary earnings, this business is only worth 4.5 million, not the 5 million. So hence the delta between what we think the business is worth at 4.5 million and what they want to sell it for 5 million. So if we went with that, that's a $500,000 savings for the buyer. But that's not it. There's more. So once we establish what the defensible purchase price is that will most likely be financed by a lender, we have to establish what else is included in the deal as given to us by the seller in terms of offering memorandum, the book that actually tells you what's going on with the deal, the offer, and what we're realizing is that, hey, there's inventory of X that we're gonna get. We're gonna get, $1.5 million worth of inventory, but according to the tax returns, we can only find $1 million. So there's all these gaps. There's all these statements made by the seller and the seller's business broker that will eventually fall apart during the due diligence. And our job is to make sure that on behalf of the buyer, everything makes sense according to the least that we can pay that can be financed by an SBA loan, because this deal will be financed by an SBA 7A loan. Okay, so aside from determining the optimal purchase price for the buyer, we're going to help you in writing up the legally enforceable purchase contract in whatever state that you're in. We're going to be handling the negotiations back and forth between the parties, and that means the seller and the business broker, their accountants and their lawyers, plus our accountants, plus our lawyers, plus the business brokers, plus the buyer. So, we're talking about 8 different types of people that are going to be intertwined in this transaction. Our job as a business broker is to move the timeline along, to make sure that things are happening, that we're assisting the accountants with the due diligence, that we are working with the seller and all the disclosures that needed to happen and all the documents that we're going to come up during the due diligence. Our job is to make sure that the bank has everything that they need so that the bank can give us a commitment letter based on the information that we have to provide to them to make sure that we have a loan, and remove the loan contingency, remove the due diligence contingency, among other things. Assisting with the procurement of the financing, the scheduling and the facilitation of the closing of the transaction via escrow, the validation of the business valuation, among other things. And you know what? Here there are more things. Then there is the things that we have to work with the SBA lender to make sure that everything that everything happens according to plan. So we have the letter of intent, the business tax returns, the personal tax returns of anybody who is going to be owning 20% or more of this structural transaction. So what does a business broker do? Well, that's exactly what we do. This is some of the other things that we do to make sure that at the end we have the buyer satisfied with an actual transaction that makes sense for them. There's also working with the lender and a preliminary closing checklist and all the things that need to happen. There are items, documents, and action items that the attorney is going to have to fulfill that we have to make sure that they all happen. Our job is to make sure that the timeline moves along. So what does a business broker do? We do everything to make sure that nothing is left behind, that nothing gets swept under the carpet, that everything is done the way it should. And at the end of it, we're going to have a transaction that makes sense. Is the content of this video helping you in what you're trying to do? If so, I need to ask you for a favor. Please like and comment on this video. Your interaction with my video in terms of likes, especially comments, help me spreading the word to other like-minded people like yourself. And the YouTube algorithm recognizes that and it will spread the word. Thank you so much for helping me with this. Second, how do you choose a business broker? So this assumes that you actually want to move forward and work with a business broker. You don't have to work with a business broker. You can totally do it on your own. If you have the finance and accounting background to actually conduct the due diligence, absolutely. Keep in mind that when you're working with a business broker, most likely if the business broker representing the seller is willing to share or co-broker the deal, the buyer doesn't really pay anything to the business broker representing them. Pretty much like in real estate. In the real estate business, the seller of the house is the one that pays the commission for both the buyer's agent and the selling agent. It's the same thing in the business brokering world, except that a lot of business brokers that are representing the seller do not want to share their commission. That's where the business brokering world is different than the real estate world. and you need to be aware of it. But assuming that you want to move forward on your own, there's all these things this 5 pages worth of stuff that you would have to be responsible. But if you wanted to work with a business broker, so here's how you go about choosing one. You want to know if the business broker that you're interviewing has subject matter expertise in the actual business, the type of business that you want to purchase. Maybe the business broker himself or herself doesn't have the unique expertise to say to buy an assisted living facility or a car wash, but say that the business brokerage does, and there is at least a couple of partners that have an understanding of the intricacies of that industry. Yes, somebody in-house has to have the knowledge on the industry specific things that are going to come up that is industry specific for that type of business. Have they sold businesses like that, or have they helped buyers with businesses in that particular industry? There's many industry verticals, and I would really advise you not to get into an industry that you don't know anything about. So my hope is that as a business buyer, you are looking into a business where you have expertise and affinity, that you understand the industry. I really like what Warren Buffett has to say about just investing in general. He says that he doesn't invest in things he doesn't understand. So I would hope that if you're looking for a business to buy, you're not looking for something that is so foreign to you, you don't know, have no idea. Because if you have no idea what's going on in this industry, how do you know you're getting a good or bad deal? And if you don't know, does the broker know? Only invest in things you understand. So the company, the business brokers that I work with, we have conducted 7,500 transactions over the last 40 years, and with 16 offices in 5 different states. And these are some of the industries, the businesses that we are very comfortable in helping you either buy or sell. So just about any sub-niche within the manufacturing industry, whether it's food, circuit board, screen printing, anything that has to do with manufacturing, whether it is of food items or anything that has to do with assembling of final product, we have done it. Retail, food and beverage, distribution, so food products, landscape management, pet products, among some of the deals that we've done. Food and beverages, deli businesses, coffee shops, restaurants, different types of Mexican, fast food restaurants. We've done supermarkets, liquor stores, gas and convenience, and the like. So we have subject matter expertise in multiple industries, but you have to choose the broker that you feel comfortable with that can actually take you over to the finish line. Not all business brokers are made the same or are the same. Some have industry knowledge, some were accountants or attorneys before they decided to become business brokers. Some come from different walks of life. The more knowledge in the industry the broker have, the better it's going to be for you, because they're going to be able to spot things in an actual business offering that you wouldn't otherwise have caught. So let me see what else. And what is the business broker reputation? I would say dig around, look around in the internet, look for any social proof of the business brokerage that you want to associate yourself with, that they actually have the social proof, that they have happy buyers, happy customers that have bought businesses through them, or sellers that have sold businesses through them. Now, it's even better when you have a business that have been sold multiple times every 5 years by the same business brokerage. It tells you that whether the buyer or the seller had a good experience, they kept coming back to do it again. So the buyer bought the business with the business brokerage that eventually ended up selling with the business brokerage, the same business brokerage. That tells you that there is a level of respect. And let me tell you, you don't achieve 7,500 transactions with us, a business team, without having had that kind of repeat customers. So I hope that gives you an idea of what to look for. What does a business broker do? And I hope you keep coming back and watching my videos. And if you haven't subscribed, please do so now. Thank you so much for watching my video. For a limited time, I'm giving away my cash flow calculator. This is a tool that I use at least a couple times a week from buyers like yourself who are looking to buy a business but don't know what a good deal looks like. So what I do is I take all this information that is listed by the broker and we'll put it in there, and we'll figure out how much cash flow is there after you have the debt serviced with the loan. So this is a great tool. It's for years to keep. All you have to do is click on the link below to download it. I hope you enjoy it.